We got the NBA Finals. We're here. We said we'd be here, and here we are. We got.
We did. And before we talk about the NBA, I just want to to talk to you for 1 second. Just make one statement about the people up here, Springfield, Massachusetts, and the surrounding areas: East Longmeadow, Wilbraham, Sturbridge, Brimfield, Munson. People who lost their things in this crazy tornado. I just want to let them all know we're thinking about them, and they're in our prayers, brother.
Very nice, Foz. I saw the news, and I'm still reeling with shock. I lived there, as you know, for 20 years of my life, and I never saw anything like that. I saw the various videos that were posted on Facebook, and it just blew my mind. And thoughts and prayers are out there for everybody, and glad that nobody was hurt in our family. I know there was 4 deaths, I think, which is very sobering.
We've got a couple of friends and a couple of people we know who've lost their homes, and
that's terrible.
But I tell you, they're happy to be alive, and God bless all the guys, all the men and women out there who are cleaning up right now. They're unbelievable. I can't tell you that.
I just want to say big ups for the Springfield Fire Department, for Springfield Police Department, Fire and Rescue. A lot of people have been posting on Facebook, and you should be real proud of Springfield, Massachusetts at this time.
I am. Now, speaking of Springfield, Massachusetts, how about one of these guys that was playing a game tonight trying to get there eventually in the Hall of Fame? We've got Dirk Nowitzki, we've got LeBron James, we've got Dwayne Wade, all possible Hall of Famers out there.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the series.
Foz, I'm excited too, but, I'm a little concerned about Dirk. I'm concerned about his injured finger. I'm concerned about reports I'm hearing about him trying different ways of taping it. He wore a thick pad with lots of tape, and then, as soon as he started practicing, he'd switch to a hard splint on the palm side of his hand. And, and then I'm hearing something about thin white tape. So you got some uncertainties here, and that's concerning to me.
It's concerning. Of course it's concerning. I guess the good part is it's his non-shooting hand, and that's the good part. But, the greats, Matt, they seem to get through those things. The Michael Jordans of the world play with a flu and score 39 points and just rip apart the Utah Jazz. Tiger Woods plays on a blown ACL and wins I believe it was the the U.S. Open. And so, I mean, these are the guys who are just, I believe it was the PGA, either one it was, but these are the guys who step it up. They are the champions, and they're these incredible people who just, when it comes to pain, they don't feel it. And I wonder right now, is Dirk Nowitzki one of those guys? This is going to show it. It's going to prove it. If he even comes out and just has a hell of a series and loses, he will gain the respect of a lot of people.
If luck was for sale, Dirk couldn't buy any. The poor guy. I mean, the guy has a lot of heart. We'll just see what happens with this hand, if it's going to be an issue. He says he's going to be okay. He's telling everybody he's not worried about it. He may be worried about it, but he's not going to convey that to the fans or of course, to the Heat.
I don't think he's worried about it. I think he's a world-class athlete, and world-class athletes deal with injuries all the time, and especially when they play 82 games a year, and they play preseason games and playoff games, and they hurt their knees and ankles and shoulders and things that we never even hear about. And so I think the fact of the matter is he's going to suck it up, and he's going to play, and he's going to give it his best effort. He'll never blame it on the fact that he's got a ligament problem in his left hand.
I agree. Now, Foz, I was kind of looking at Game 1. I was impressed that neither team didn't shoot that well. We're talking in the high 30s. I think Miami shot maybe a little bit better, 38% or something to that effect. Their Miami defense limited Nowitzki to 7 of 18 shooting in the opener. But he got to the line enough to score 27 points. I talked to my son Jake the Snake, you know him.
I do know
Jake the Snake's the man, and I always tell him, practice your free throw shooting. Because if you're going to drive the lane and get fouled, you got a chance to get 2 points. So and Dirk Nowitzki is a fantastic free throw shooter. I've always stressed that.
Sure he is.
So, you got 7 of 18 shooting in the opener, but he got to the line enough to score 27. But he's got to do better today, Foz. They got to find a way to get their offense to work against the Heat. The defense of the Heat is stifling.
The defense of the Heat has surprised me through the season. But, they have a different team now than they had a few months ago. They don't have Carlos Arroyo running the team anymore. They got Mike Bibby running the team out there. They got Udonis Haslem, who's actually playing a huge role now. I mean, a huge role. And Joel Anthony was coming into his own. You got guys who are out there who are finally buying into what Spoelstra's teaching. And I think it's working. And I was one of the naysayers who thought it wasn't going to. But I will say this, Matt. The Dallas has to hang their hat on something really wonderful. I mean, that game was close until the last minute and a half.
Yeah.
And Correa had a terrible game. Kidd had a terrible shooting game. Jason Terry's been non-existent lately. Dirk Nowitzki couldn't shoot to save his life. And they still were right there. Tyson Chandler foul trouble. They were still right there. And so I think they have to hang their hat on the fact that, look, if we can get a couple of these things to drop, they had some open looks. We can make a game of this, and we can beat this team.
Tony, where was the Barea, or as one of the condescending sports reporters said, where was the midget that beat up on L.A.? Where was he, Tony?
I tell you, LA's defense was nothing compared to what Miami has. And LA looked tired, and LA looked they looked like they were two-time defending champions who thought they were great. And the fact of the matter is you still have to work at it. And I think Miami is so hungry right now. And LeBron James has something to prove. Dwayne Wade has something to prove. Chris Bosh has something to prove. Pat Riley does by putting this team together. Eric Spoelstra does by they were calling for his head all year long.
Oh, I know they were.
So the team is hungry. And they're playing great defense. And if you play great defense and you have three legitimate scorers, then you got a guy like Mike Miller knocking down a three when everybody's covered.
You got to love Mike Miller. I mean, you got to love Mike Miller. He puts on his game face, kind of like how we go to work. We got problems. Everybody's got problems, but sometimes you just got to put on the suit jacket. You got to button and buttons, and you got to go to work. And that's what Mike Miller's showing me. He's got a sick child, and but he's doing his job, and that's impressive to me. And Mike Miller, if I'm not mistaken, Faz, was he not a throwaway? When I say throwaway, I'm not trying to be saying the guy was a horrible player, but I don't think there's a lot of offers.
He was a good shooter.
I don't think there's a lot of offers on the table for Mike Miller before the season.
Well, that's why he fit in perfectly on the team, because that team can't sign anybody for any money. They need guys who are what you just call throwawayers or scrap heaps, as we used to call them. I think I caught so much crap for one time, but those are the guys we do need, and those are the guys that, or not we, but Miami does need, and those are the guys that have to step it up, because if you can't just do it with those three big guys, you need the role players. That's shown in the past all the time.
Boz, I just wanted to commend you on your blog. Just to let people know, we have a website up and running now.
I want to commend you on the website.
Oh, thanks.
Nice job,
appreciate that. www.mattandfozsportsbuzz.com. Click under services, and you can find Foz's blog. I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to make you go to the website, listeners. A very, very well-written blog. I printed it at work. People were impressed. They liked it. Good for sports. Good for Matt and Foz Sports Buzz. Good for the NBA. Good job.
It's always good to talk sports, so I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much.
Foz, game one, where was the bench for the Mavericks? What happened? I mean,
where was the team for the Mavericks? Where was the team? Where were the starters?
I mean, I was being mean at work. You could say mean to heavily favored Dallas Mavericks fans at work. I mean, obviously,
they're probably a little biased down there.
A little biased. I'm in Texas. Maybe a couple Heat fans, and we said it's going to be a mercy killing. That's what we were calling tonight's game, a mercy killing. But I sense from some of the things you said earlier in the show today that you think the Mavericks still have a chance.
I think Dallas can make this a series, man. I think Dallas has the talent. They do have a superstar, and I think it's time for everyone to stop talking about Dirk Nowitzki as the greatest European player in the league, or the greatest that's ever played in the league, European player. He is one of the best power forwards that's played in the last 30 years.
Aside from his inside game.
What about, okay, we can talk about that, but Kevin Garnett doesn't have an inside game, much of an inside game at all, except for defensively. You also look over at Tim Duncan. What's he got for an inside game except for jump hooks?
Good call.
And I mean, you don't have to have that game if you can step out and hit a 24-footer. And then he has been putting his back to the basket and actually been doing something good with that lately. But he can put the ball on the floor. I mean, he is the big comparison everybody gives him up here, and actually all the way around, is Larry Bird, because he's another tall white guy who can shoot the ball. I don't agree with that
I don't
comparison,
agree with
although
that
it's
one
easy
bit.
to do.
Yeah.
They're different sizes, they have different strengths. However, I think you have to give the guy some credit for being exactly what he is. And I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest players of the last 30, maybe 40 years when it's all said and done, but he needs that hardware.
Tony, how unathletic does that guy look? He has the oddest shooting style. Jake and I were just laughing. I mean, the guy just, he has the oddest fall away. He just looks so awkward. But it doesn't have to be pretty to work. Like I said, when the guy's on, the rim could be 10-foot diameter.
But I'll tell you, Matt, you don't win a championship with just Dirk Nowitzki. I don't believe you do anyway. I don't believe Charles Barkley could win one by himself. I don't believe Allen Iverson could win one by himself. I don't believe David Robinson could win one by himself. You don't take a big guy in the middle, or you just don't take this incredible superstar and think that he's going to do it by himself. They need Jason Terry to step up. They need Jason Kidd to start grabbing rebounds and actually hitting that mid-range jumper that he used to hit. He was a bad shooter in the beginning of his career, but he turned himself into a pretty solid shooter. He needs to come back to that. And you need a guy like Tyson Chandler to dominate the middle and play defense. Don't get in that that foul trouble right off the bat, because once that happens, who else do they have?
Faz, I've always had an interest in. I've always admired 3-point shooters. I just like that.
Yeah.
That's just my thing.
I know you do.
I think you're more of an inside game guy, but I like the jump shooter.
I'm a point guard guy.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm kind of looking at Peja Stojakovic. I think he needs to use the pump fake more. I don't know what happened to him, but he wasn't much of a factor.
I'd like to check what the age is. How old is Peja at this point in time? He was on the Sacramento Kings in the late 90s.
He may be, what is he? Let's say he's 37. Just say. I mean, I'm not sure. I think I'm pretty close. Does he really need to be young to do what he does, though? I mean,
I think you need to be young to run up and down and play defense. And
true.
The problem.
But as far as
he's not in the game.
But as far as his ability to hit the three.
Well, I think that's where you're kind of missing some steps, and I think this is what makes Ray Allen so effective. Ray Allen can go out, and because he's the most fit man in the NBA, or at least one of them, he can cover anybody for an entire game and still get himself wide open for a three-point shot. I don't believe that Peja Stojakovic has he doesn't have the ability to do that. He has to hope for screens. He has to hope for a problem to get himself open. He has to hope for someone to fall off him.
Or like I said, maybe like the pump fake, he could maybe get his defender in the air and draw a foul or step in and take 20-footer.
It's possible. I mean, I can't say that it wouldn't work. It's possible. I mean, I haven't watched enough to see what he's doing and if he's doing anything mechanically. But I also think that Peja is not. He's not what he was.
He's not what he was. He's not what he was, Foz. And the Heat's defense bounces back so fast. So you got that running against you.
They are so young and fit.
The Heat defense, it's not. I know this sounds like a love fest, but it's not. I think we're calling it what it is. The Heat are playing great defense. Now, since we're on the Maverick subject, I wanted to talk about Barrera. I mean, the guy was 1 for 8, Tony. That was a huge problem for the Mavericks.
Sure it is.
I mean, I thought he was getting some good looks, Foz. I mean, a lot of layups he took were makeable.
I think that's what Carlisle said. Carlisle said, look, we had open looks. We had shots that normally fall for us, didn't fall. And we have to make sure we knock those shots down too. But you also have to remember something about J.J. Barea. When have you heard of him besides this year? I mean, what kind of stage is he on right now in the finals against the Miami Heat?
Are you saying he's got the jitters, Foss? Because he kind of looked like he had the jitters. I think he needs to slow down and relax a little. Maybe it's the truth. Maybe he has to find himself and find comfort somewhere. It's a possibility he just needs to get that groove. I don't know, but he showed that he can be an effective ball player. Absolutely.
He's shown that.
I mean, against L.A., Foz, like the guy said, not to be condescending, the midget beat down L.A. I mean, the guy just literally tore him to shreds.
And so he has talent. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But at the same time, too, when your other teammates aren't dropping anything, then you're going to start feeling a lot of pressure to either not take a shot or to force a shot. And maybe it may not be the shot that you're looking for. I think Dallas has an opportunity. I'm not saying that Dallas can't win this series. I do think that Dallas is highly what's the word I'm going to look for? I think they're undermanned. You know, I think that's the thing. And you're going to need something Jordan-esque out of Dirk Nowitzki for it to happen.
Yeah, I think the key is Dirk, Foz. I agree with you on that. Jason Terry, he's lurking out there. Foz, I saw him drive the lane against LeBron, and I saw what looked to be a flagrant foul, but it wasn't. I mean, LeBron barely touched him, and Terry just went down to the ground, and he looked like somebody in a nursing home in a diaper. I mean, he was just laying there helpless, Tony.
He's going to buy a call.
Unbelievable.
You know, the fact of the matter is Jason Terry, he's the best. He's the best guy that nobody ever talks about in the NBA, and that's not an understatement. That's not an overstatement.
Wow.
He's the best guy that nobody ever talks about. He's a top 6 man in the game. I think that's not even disputable. And he's one of those guys who adds energy to his team. And if he's not hitting his shots, if he's afraid to take his shots, he's not going to add that energy.
Yeah.
So he needs to be on. And Jason Terry has always been one of those guys. He is a workman, and he enjoys his position as 6 man. He enjoys his position as the team's energizer buddy.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see if he's got to have to turn it on as well.
I think the key with Jason Terry. I think basically, Foz, what it boils down to, I think it's just a matter of whether his jumper is falling or not. I mean, if his jumper's falling, Dallas can win. But if his jumper, if he plays like he did the first game, they don't stand a chance. I mean, Terry, threes are important. Threes are important.
They are important, and they open up everything inside, and that's definitely important. I think the fact of the matter is, I think it still rests on Dirk. I think if Dirk falls apart, then Jason Terry could never win a championship. I think if Jason Terry falls apart, Dirk could still find a way to squeak some games out.
Yeah.
But I tell you, watching LeBron James play defense against Derrick Rose was an unbelievable, absolute mismatch. I never thought I'd say that.
No, it was.
Derrick Rose is so quick, and he couldn't even get shots off. LeBron James was just on him like a blanket.
I mean, what?
He just couldn't even get shots off.
I mean, this James, can I call him King James, Tony? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, my name's not Scottie Pippen. Hold on. Anyway, I had to have been drunk to say that statement, Foz. But that's a whole nother show. We're talking about the finals here. We'll keep it positive. But it's just incredible. I mean, LeBron James is just the guy is a man child. He's built like a brick shithouse. I mean, the guy is so quick. He's hitting his stride, Foz, and I think in summation, I think this is going to be a quick series if things go the way they've been going. Now, go ahead.
I still think Dallas is going to push into 6 games.
Okay.
I think Dallas is going to find some energy. I think they're going to, we've seen Miami hit their skids, and there are guys who can pick it up when one guy falters. But I do believe that Dallas has the talent to grab a couple games out of it. And I'm going to call Miami in 6. It's not my dream to watch Miami win it. Although I will say that it seems to me like I don't know that team could go ahead and win 3 or 4 more championships. They're very young.
Foz, there's a huge pot of Kool-Aid in front of me. It says Miami Heat, and I'm going to gulp it. I'm saying the Heat in 5.
Heat in 5.
Foz, I love my coworkers, but you still got guys that are saying the Heat aren't that good. They're not that great. I mean, and Foz, I want our listeners to read your blog because it's effective. And if I had LeBron's email address, I'd forward that to him because he deserves it. It was one of our comments.
And you get arrested for stalking. But I'll say this, just as a tease, I am not. You know me. You can go back and check our shows. I have been blasting LeBron ever since July of last year.
I know.
The way he handled himself was inexcusable and immature, and I think it was a disgrace to the NBA. That being said, I think my blog does explain a lot of things.
Okay, so we got Bosch gives out 3 for 7 at the rim, Foz. I mean, I think that was a plus for the Mavs interior defense. They also had 8 blocks, so the Heat weren't just missing chippies,
No. But if you got a couple of slashers like LeBron and Dwayne Wade who are able to get to the basket when they need to get to the basket, you know, doesn't make a difference how chippy you are, and then you can actually kick the ball out.
Chippy, you like that word? Kind of English sounding.
They all can hit. Dwayne Wade can hit the three-pointer. LeBron can hit the three-pointer. Mike Miller can hit the three-pointer. Eddie House, if he ever gets into a game, can hit a three-pointer. I mean, they've got shooters out there. Mike Bibby can hit a three-pointer.
Oh, House was. I always thought House was lights out when he played for Boston, Foz. That guy was lights out.
It's a different team, and I'm not sure that he's a little older, and I like Eddie House.
Looking at game one, Foz, I can't. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I am probably overreacting to one single game. Thinking that the Heat are going to take this in 5. I just don't. I don't know, Foz. I just don't see how Dallas can make it work against this Heat defense. They're too young. They're too fast. They're too strong.
Well, I think, Matt, anybody who knows the NBA will tell you that Game 2 is probably the most important game of the series.
Nice call.
It's just the way it goes. Game 1 is supposed to be won by the home team. It's the energy of the home team. It's the nerves of the road team, and the home team is supposed to win that Game 1. Now, what Dallas needs to do is go in there and steal tonight. And if they go in there and steal that, then you go back to Dallas for 3 games, and you never know what happens.
That's true.
You just never know what happens.
That would be exciting if Dallas steal, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, it sounds good. I like it. I like the tale. I like it. Dallas steals Game 2.
We have to have something to look forward to.
That's true, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Sure.
I'm calling the Heat in 5. You're calling the Heat in 6. So we're on the same.
And that's a first.
It's a first.
That's a first.
I believe you were 2-0.
I was 2-0 in the championship series.
2-0, and I was batting for 500 there. Or you could.
I believe last year I was 3-0 in the championship series, and then the Lakers versus the Celtics.
Yeah.
So I've been on a roll. So I'm trying to hang on to the roll, but I don't know. I'm just trying not to bet with my heart, and I'm trying to bet with what I see, what I believe.
It's there's a lot of heart guys out there, especially here in San Antonio. A lot of heart guys. The Dallas Mavericks have been a big rival of the home team here, the Spurs. The Spurs have 4 rings. The Mavs have 0. So, there's not a lot of love there for Dallas and vice versa. But
sure.
Just being a Texas team, you got, everybody's just pulling for the Mavericks. But they're using their heart.
We'll see in a couple of days. I mean, I tell you, I know people up here were talking about Boston beating Miami, and if you were thinking, you knew it wasn't going to happen. It was just, they just don't have the horses that Miami had, and they didn't have the big man, and they didn't have the interior defense that they needed. And Garnett played his heart out, but he's on the back nine, and there's no doubt that he cannot do what he did 3 or 4 years ago. He just doesn't have that same game. He doesn't have that 38-point, 17-rebound game.
Boz, who has the advantage here? Which team do you think has the advantage here in the shooting guard or small forward spot?
Well, which one? Shooting guard or small forward?
Well, let's start with shooting guard. I mean, okay.
Miami. I mean, you got Dwayne Wade. I mean,
yeah.
He's one of the top players in the league, and I don't see a lot of shooting guards in the league that I would take over him, and maybe Kobe Bryant, but Kobe is another one who just may be he may be on the back nine as well. And so I don't know. I for my money, Dwayne Wade is a heck of a shooting guard, and I think I'd take him anytime.
They sure the Miami Heat. They sure have a lot of weapons, Foz.
They sure do.
Foz, do you think Rick Carlisle's in over his head?
Oh, I think Rick Carlisle is a very good NBA coach.
Okay.
I think he's proven that over the years, and I think to get a team like that, like Dallas, through the West and through some really tough young team, through a tough young team in Oklahoma City, and to sweep the Lakers like that, I think he had them completely prepared. And I think he's proven that. And I think he also brought Detroit to the championship, or to the Eastern Conference Championship. I mean, he knows what he's doing. There's no doubt about that.
Nice, Foz. Yeah, we were talking about Spoelstra. I said the guy's hard to read. I called him the Obama of the NBA. I think you kind of like that one. Is he a good coach, Boz, or does he have the proverbial earpiece and you got Pat Riley talking to him? I mean, what's going on with Bolster? I really don't know if I can't tell you. I really don't know.
I think you may be blessed to have Pat Riley talking to him. You're talking about one of the best coaches in the NBA, in the history of the NBA. If you got Pat Riley in your ear, it's not a bad guy to have in your ear. I don't believe Pat Riley is running the team, if that's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
I don't believe those guys are playing for Pat Riley. Their practices are run by Eric Spoelstra. He may get a lot of ideas from Pat Riley, but who better to get ideas from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pat Riley's won championships with the Lakers. He's won championships with Miami. He was in the championship game with the Knicks. I mean, I don't think. No, I'm sorry. I think he was in the Eastern Conference Championship twice with the Knicks.
Okay.
But here's a guy who knows how to coach, and if I got that guy sitting in my office next to me telling me things about how to win, you bet. I think it only makes Spoelstra better.
Boz, you think we talked about the Crygate. And maybe that was a point in time where the player coach relationship was established. It seems to me, it's an educated guess that was a turning point for the Heat, because Boz, you can assemble all the superstars you want. You remember the Lakers and ring shopping? You remember that? Karl Malone had the old grocery cart out.
Sure.
And he had what's his name there? Sitting in the old.
I think they brought in Gary Payton.
Yeah, Gary Payton was sitting in that little seat your mom used to drive you around in a grocery cart. He's kind of driving around. You see where they got zero. They got nothing out of that.
Yes, they did. But and that's why I make the point that that I think LeBron James got into Miami early enough, where he's not championship hunting. He is looking to build a legacy, the same way Shaquille O'Neal left Orlando, but built himself a legacy in Los Angeles, to retiring his number.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Boz,
so
I would ask you another question. I'm kind of big on position analysis here tonight. Kid or Bibby, Boz? Talk to me. It's about. I mean, come on. Who'd you take? Who'd you take, Kid or Bibby?
With the two teams that I have right there, I take Jason Kidd. I take the guy who can distribute. I take the guy who's not afraid to take the shot. I take the guy who's a triple-double machine. I think he's second in league history to Magic Johnson.
Nice, Tony. Because, that's a great compliment. Wow.
They weren't really counting Oscars back in his day, but
yeah.
But I think that's a guy for me. And I know he's got 38-year-old legs, and I know what he is, but he's proven to me that he can get to a championship, that he can play well in a championship, and that's my guy. I take Jason Kidd, and I'm a point guard guy, and that's the guy that I take.
Tony, am I crazy to say that Sean Marion could be the X factor?
You're crazy. I think you're absolutely crazy.
Okay.
That's just well.
I mean, Boz, come on now. Hold on. His offensive game, you can't discount his offensive game. The guy has the potential to break out with 20+ points. He is capitalizing on cuts and offensive rebounds and occasional deep post. I still think. Yeah, I think
guys like Joel Anthony can come out with a 20-point game too. He did against the Celtics, but it doesn't tell me that he's going to be the X factor.
So you don't think Sean Marion is even a factor? Never mind being an X factor.
I don't say he's not even a factor. The guy's still got basketball skills. There's no doubt about it. But watching him play to me is like watching Vince Carter play.
Yeah.
On the back nine, or watching Grant Hill play.
Nice comparison on the Carter. I like that one.
These are guys who had that explosive ability to the hoop, but that's not quite there anymore.
Yeah.
And so now what do? Do you rely on your outside game? And maybe he's got an outside game, maybe he doesn't on nights, but he is not what he was. And what he was always a very good NBA player. When a very good NBA player takes a step backwards, he becomes very mediocre.
I guess what you'd call a journeyman, probably. So,
yeah, I think that's a perfect call for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he had a lot of potential. There's no doubt about that.
So, of course, Dirk's a center point. Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Tyson Chandler, they've proved to be reliable. But like I say, Boz, I could tell you all kinds of things about the Mavericks, but they still have to beat Miami Heat, and I just don't see how it's going to happen. Is there any way you think that the Mavericks can pull this off? And when I say pull off, I'm talking about holding up that trophy. Is there?
Of course.
Oh, so you think there's?
Yeah, of course.
I personally, Foz, don't see how it could happen, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on why you.
Well, I mean, there is no doubt that I think the better team normally wins the 7-game series. I'm not going to say that that's not the case, and that's what I believe as well too. But there is something to be said also about Dallas as a great team. I think they're maybe great's big, but they're a very good team with the potential to be great. This is the first time they scored under 90 points in the playoffs, I think, and so they just could have had a really terrible game. What would we be saying if they came out and they shut down LeBron James in their last 2 minutes and they won the game by 1? Would we be saying, oh, that's it was just a hiccup by Miami? I mean, Miami can close. There is no doubt in my mind that Miami can close.
Yeah.
And now Dallas just has to prove that they have. And I think tonight is going to tell us everything. I think if it goes down 0-2, it's obvious.
I like your game 2 theory, Tony. I'm kind of digging it. It makes
all the sense in the world, and it's a momentum shift, especially if you can drag that win on the plane.
Yeah.
Back to Dallas.
Yeah.
And then one can never tell what happened. If you take 2 out of 3, then maybe you have to steal one in Miami. Is it possible? Who knows?
Dirk Nowitzki, we know he's super important. We don't know what's going to happen with the finger. We're fixing to sit on our chairs and pop a brew and watch the game and have a blast, because that's what we love to do. We love the NBA. We love to watch basketball, and we're fixing to do that in about 4 minutes. But I just wanted to say a couple more things. I wanted to say I think Dirk Nowitzki is going to get hassled by Haslam. What do you think?
I think that's a great call. I think you're going to see Bosch on him. I think you're going to see Haslam on him.
Uh-huh.
I think you're going to see different looks. You're going to see LeBron on him if he starts to go if he starts to go off pretty well. As long as LeBron is not sitting there with any fouls. But LeBron has proven that he could play top-notch defense right now.
Absolutely.
And an athlete like that, that might be the guy you want on him in the first place.
And the way I see it, Boz, the Heat bench is superior to the Mavericks, and I think they'll continue to outperform Dallas. And I just think, what it boils down to, Boz, for me, and it may be hyperbole, it may be something a lot of people are saying, but I just think what it boils down to, Foz, is LeBron and Wade are too much for the Dallas Mavericks, and it's going to cost them the series. Heat in 5. Well
said. I think that's what I can't get past, and so I think that is well said. And I don't think I can top that. To tell you the truth.
Foz, I'm going to go pop a brew, man, and I'm going to go watch the game. And
let me throw one thing out before you leave.
Foz, go for it. I want to hear. Talk to me.
Shaquille O'Neal retired after 19 years via Twitter.
Heart of a lion. Heart of a lion.
Where do you rank him with your in the top centers of all time?
I would probably put Shaquille. I'll tell you the guys I'd put ahead of him: Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for starters. I think with Shaquille O'Neal, I think he could have grabbed more rebounds in his career.
Sure.
I think the guy is on third time on the list for points scored in the playoffs. Pretty impressive.
That is impressive. They had a lot more rounds too.
I always thought that his free throw shooting was despicable. I always think that a NBA player should be at least an 80%, 75% at the lowest.
That's a lot, but at least give me 60.
I mean, Boz, it's all about standing at the line and shooting. It's about practice. So
yeah. You put him number 3 all the time.
No. There's so many better centers. David Robinson, I'd put him ahead of Shaq.
Wow.
I definitely would. I'd put the Dream ahead of Shaq. Shaq would probably be number 6, probably. I mean, just for the fact that you can't overlook the third all-time playoff point scorer. You can't overlook the durability of the man's body. And we're not talking about a guy that went out there and played finesse basketball. A guy that didn't play defense. We're talking about a guy who pounded the paint, Tony. They should take the DNA of the guy's knees and put it in some kind of museum. because he's a freak of nature, Foz. You don't see a guy pound the hard court for 19 years and have 2 injuries. I mean, we're seeing the tail end of a great career. Shaq has got the heart of a lion. He always gave it 100% on the court.
Yep.
I love Shaq. He always had his humor. He always had something funny to say. I'm gonna miss the guy. I'm gonna miss Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, listen. I think there's no doubt.
Glad you brought that up, Foz, because he deserved that. He did.
I would just say that there's somewhere along the way, and I'm sure it's just an omission, or maybe not, maybe it isn't, but I would have to throw Wilt in front of him.
That's
how dominant he was.
Put Wilt would be in front of him. Absolutely would be in front of him.
You and I are right around the same spot. Maybe not David Robinson for me, but you and I are right around the same spot. I think I got him in that.
Like that. Foz, I just want our listeners to visit our website, www.mattandfozsportsbuzz.com. My ultimate goal for us, Foz, get a syndicated show. That would be can you imagine doing this for a living and getting paid for it?
I'd have a blast, buddy. I'd do it for free.
I think we're a good team, Foz.
Well, I appreciate all the work you put into it, brother. I really do.
I appreciate you doing the blog. That was a fantastic. I want everybody to go to our website, hit services, and read Foz's blog. It was just really well put together, Foz. And I think people need to read it, and they need to understand why LeBron James did what he did. I thought that was really good, Foz. Foz, I got the beer in my hand. I can't. I'm looking at the chair. I see the TV on. I see the game. I got to get over there, Foz. I can't.
Go get it, buddy.
Foz, always a pleasure talking sports. Matt and Foz Sports Buzz is going up and up.
Well, I appreciate all the hard work you put into it, brother.
Foz, you have a great night, and I love you, brother.
I love you too, cuz. Great talking to you. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely, man.
See you, buddy.
Take care.